Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Started off the year with 17 Grand Slams. Now he's on the brink of 21. I don't know if anybody can stop him. Is he gonna become the greatest of all time?
Welcome back, tennis fans. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. It is the men's final preview. It's Novak Djokovic closing in on the calendar year Grand Slam, but he's up against a mad Russian, Daniil Medvedev, looking for his very first Grand Slam at the third attempt. Can he do it, JG, is the question. It's going to be a very, very interesting final, this one, I think.
Well, this is a bit more normal than the women's in the fact that it's the number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed. Daniil Medvedev in his third Grand Slam final. It usually takes a few times, making what Raducanu did even more crazy. But yeah, this should have been the biggest story of the US Open, and that's Novak Djokovic going for the calendar year slam. Some would argue it is. I think you could definitely make a case for it because it is something which I didn't think was ever possible. I feel like in this modern generation of tennis as well, not so much the older stuff, I never thought anyone would win 4 Grand Slams in 1 year because I think it's just so mentally challenging on the body. Mentally demanding on the mind and physically challenging, demanding on the body because it is something which is unheard of. I feel like the Roland Garros to Wimbledon win is one of the hardest transitions in tennis. Djokovic did that. So once he's done that, this in theory should be a little bit easier, the US Open, but it's still not going to be that easy because he's got one match now against the number 2 seed. A lot of people would say the best hard quarter currently in the world. He's very, very solid, but he did play Djokovic at the start of the year in Australia and got demolished.
He did indeed. I think you're right. I don't think that people are even thinking about what he's already achieved. 3 Grand Slams in a calendar year is incredible. And the one which is the most difficult, as you've said already, the French to Wimbledon transition. I just think that as soon as he had knocked Rafael Nadal out of the French Open, there was something in his mind that thought, now it's on. Now I'm fully invested in this. It was a dream, I think, before that. Yep. And then it became reality. Once you've got past Rafa at Roland Garros, it was his to lose. And he went on and won that. It was a very much adversity he went through in the final, but 5 sets against Tsitsipas. Then to Wimbledon, made it look easy at Wimbledon, not going to lie. I thought he absolutely cruised it. and now we're building up to the US Open, his least popular Grand Slam, really, and he hasn't done as well there as the other hardcourt Grand Slam. Obviously, Australia's his home, really, second home.
Well, our patron here, Gene. How we doing, Gene? Thanks for joining us again. Saying 3 titles, 5 losses. So he's lost more times in the final than he's won at the US Open, which you can't say about many of the other slams. So you can look at all of these kind of things, but you remember it's Daniil Medvedev. He's never won any. He means business, though. I've seen some of the quotes from him. I know we're going to get onto it later on in the video, but he knows this is a real good shot for him, because there's no certainty that he gets to slam finals. I feel like in the men's side of things, you've got to take your opportunity when it arises, because you never know. Rafa's going to be back next year. Federer as well. I think Federer, Medvedev, there's not really much of a battle. Medvedev should be able to beat him as long as it's not on clay. But Rafa, I don't know. He could run him close a little bit. But yeah, let's get on to the tweets anyway, because I'm going to keep talking.
Indeed, yeah. So, yeah, starting off with this one from Yusuf saying, only 3 years ago, Djokovic had 12 Grand Slams. Tomorrow he plays for number 21. Has there ever been a more dominant athlete in their 30s?
Well,
No.
The only person springs to mind is Cristiano Ronaldo. If you're looking at sort of that elite level of athlete, you've got the likes of Ronaldo, Djokovic. They're both doing things which aren't really human. And yeah, there's probably not been someone as dominant as either of them two. People could argue even Djokovic has been, because this decade, no one's come close to him. And I don't mean a few years. It's been a decade of dominance from him.
It literally has. I mean, I alluded to it in the song as well. He's won 19 out of the last 42 Grand Slams, which is pretty much half, let's just say, of the last 42 Grand Slams, which is pretty much obscene. I just don't know if anybody...
Do you know what? That stat would be crazy if he's reached, say, 19 finals out of the last 42 Grand Slams. But that's the actual winning count. I hate to know what the final count was.
Oh, it's
more than half, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even go through and count all of the finals. It's just ridiculous. This guy is on another level, and he has fifth gear. I think I've just been saying it this tournament. I'm going to keep calling it. He has that extra gear to go into in the fifth set. I'm calling it fifth gear. He goes through all the other sets and goes, right, now we're into the fifth. Right, I go. It's like Mo Farah on the straight at the Olympics. Oh, I've got another level. Yeah, I'm just going to sprint the last 100 meters. That's pretty much Djokovic in 5 sets. He has a sprint finish, and it's amazing to see him do it every time.
Yeah.
Anyway, move on to the next one. Well,
there's just a quote here from Djokovic. They've both been doing quite a bit of media. I've really liked some of the quotes, actually, what's come out of it. And you can see him there roaring on, saying, I'm going to treat this next match, like it's the last match of my career. He's gone along the lines of how this is the most important match ever for him. He's going to do everything. He's going to input every ounce of energy he has, all of his mental strength into every point. And let's see if it works for him. I feel like if he's doing this, Medvedev must be quaking a little bit inside, because he doesn't always have to do that, and he's still very good. So when he's applying himself fully, listen, mate, as much as I've got Medvedev winning, I can only see it going one way. Like, listen, he sold me. He's won me over with his words.
He's won me over with his actions on court, and he's looked by far the best player now. I know everybody was saying, the first week, what's wrong with him? He looks a bit out of sort. But, well, the second week, he definitely looks the best player in the tournament. So I don't think we can really even question him. He always gets better as it goes on. This year, he didn't have any warm-up, so he looked a bit more rusty in the first few matches. But it doesn't matter. He's conditioned for 5 sets. Even if he had to win the first whole week in 5 sets every match, I think it'd still be fine. So... move on to the next one. We've got Zverev on Djokovic. This is an interesting one. I think mentally...
after the loss? I think it was after the loss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was after the loss. I think mentally is the best player to ever play the game. Mentally, in the most important moments, I would rather play against anybody else but him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think everyone feels the same. No one wants to play him, certainly over best of 5. We've spoke about that different dynamic as well in a Grand Slam, unplayable. Zverev was able to beat him in the Olympics in a best of 3 scenario. You can't do it. You just can't in a best of 5. We saw what he did in that 5th set. There was a moment in that where we thought he was going to potentially bagel Zverev, and he just comes out the trap so fast. He's just a different animal. He doesn't look tired at all.
Yeah.
Like I've said it many times. I think if tennis was played over, say, best of 7 sets, then we would see him most likely bagel players in the last set every time.
Oh, I think he would
I think
probably
we'd see an endless amount of bagels or breadsticks as the later it goes on.
he'd win every slam. There wouldn't even be a competition then. It would be, I think, best of 5 gives everybody else a little bit of a chance. If they've got to win 4 sets, God, that's never going to happen against Djokovic.
He would win everything.
Yeah, literally everything. If anything, that's probably why they were talking about trying to reduce it down to 3 rather than have it at 5, just to try and give everyone else a chance. But that's just credit to him. It's like a marathon, these type of things, and the fact that he's managed to condition himself into like a marathon runner, it's incredible. Like a lot of the other players, think how much hard work goes in behind the scenes. Everybody takes it for granted. They just think, oh, he might just be just naturally gifted. Oh, he's just one of these players. His training regime is probably the hardest out of everybody. All of the little things he does, all of his yoga, he's the stretchiest, most flexible. He's probably more flexible than ballerinas and people like that. It's crazy. This guy,
he can bend his body. He can bend his body. Some of the shots we saw against Zverev was blown away. I think we saw one of the longest rallies I've ever witnessed on court. What was it? 50 or 60
53 shots.
They showed it on the US Open account. They've posted the whole clip. I recommend watching it if you haven't already. And in the live chat, we've got a lot of people giving all of the different animals which we could see for this match. Obviously, Djokovic known as the wolf. We've got Alexander saying the wolf versus the koala bear. I think it's just because we've got Medi Bear, then where we call him the octopus. Djokovic, well, there's plenty of names and different animals we have for him. But the big one at the moment is the wolf, isn't it? Wolf mentality.
Yeah, the wolf mentality definitely does have it. And when he
a lot of people call him a goat as well for other reasons.
Well, when he gets his teeth stuck into a person, then he doesn't tend to let go. I think the wolf is a very apt one. I just think that Medvedev, I know we call him the octopus. He could be like a fish out of water in this final. We're going to find out, though. His best slam final was the US Open. We got to remember that. He's better in this time of the year. Traditionally, the beginning of the year isn't really his thing. I'm surprised he got to it's because of his run of form. He got to the Australian Open final. Normally, you wouldn't see him perform that well in January or February.
Now, we've got Bugaslav here saying, Novak, say to Medi, listen, let me win here and I'll let you win the Australian Open. Just my fantasy.
Let me win here.
Listen, Djokovic would take it. He would take a loss at Australia next year if he can just get this calendar year slam. Of course he would, Ben.
I'd say I'll let you win this one next year.
This opportunity.
I'll let you win the US Open next year. He can go for 10 Australian Opens, isn't it, next? So I'm sure that'll be on his radar.
Yeah, but I don't think anything really equals a calendar year slam. That's in its own league entirely.
Oh, it's never happened in the Open era, as we know.
Yeah.
The last male player to do it was Rod Laver back in '69. And obviously we had on the women's side Steffi Graf. She won the Golden Slam in '88. But on the men's side, there's been nothing since '69, and that's pretty amazing that he could be the first guy in this incredible era as well, with so many talented tennis players to do it. It's definitely possible.
We've got another patron here going yoga for the win. I think he's talking about the flexibility there of Djokovic. Liam, a big yoga fan as well.
Yeah.
And the big three tweeting out, this is a good one. Number of times reaching all 4 Grand Slam finals in one season. Federer 3 times, Djokovic 2, Nadal 0. Not a stat I like that much, but you've got to listen. You've got a heap lot of praise on both Federer and Djokovic, but neither of them been able to do it so far. Djokovic is a big favourite to do it later on. We'll find out. Well, come this evening whether he was able to, and just on them 3 finals for Federer, or three times he reached 4 finals.
Yes,
they were. Because I brought it up just to make sure. It was 06, 07, and 2009. Where in 06 and 07 he won all of them apart from Roland Garros, where he reached the final both times. He lost to Rafael Nadal, of course, in both of them, and then in 09 he lost the final to who did he lose
Rafa.
The final to? I think Rafa Nadal
Australia.
again. Yeah, Rafa was just
that
killing
was
him
his
at that
chance.
moment.
That was his chance.
And then he lost to Del Potro in the US Open.
That really was. How mad is it? The year that he won the French Open, he lost the 2 hardcourt titles. Just that you can't write it, can you? Poor old Brog, who was did his best to try and get that calendar year slam. It was an era of dominance, though. I think that one, getting to all those finals for Federer, but you've got to win them all. And Djokovic has the opportunity now to potentially win them all.
I love Rafa during them times anyway. I thought it was special.
Yeah, it really was.
Shout out to my Rafa fans.
Right. Anyway, on to this one. Medvedev on his bid to stop Djokovic from the calendar slam. I'll probably be in the history books if I don't let him do this. I will give it my all. Oh, so he's coming out.
Well, he'll be in the history books regardless. It'll be just for the wrong reason, because it'll be next to his name, defeat.
Maybe, yeah. That is not something that you want to be in. You don't want to be the final leg on Djokovic's quest to claiming this thing. There's a few people along the way. Berrettini is obviously on there. Tsitsipas is on there. And Medvedev's already on there. He can be on there twice. So, it's been still a good year for Medvedev. The second slam final of the year.
Well, it gets better now. He just starts the year terrible. He has the ability to get bageled early year by the likes of Gilles Simon. But then towards the end of the year, he beats everyone. We saw him in the ATP finals. He's probably going to be the favourite for the ATP finals this year in Turin, let's be honest.
Paris Masters.
He flourishes. Yeah, Paris Masters as well. I expect him to probably win, depending on Djokovic and what he's doing and other players. But yeah, Daniel Medvedev, can he do it? That's the big thing. We'll be giving our prediction towards the end of this one. So wait along for that. I know we've got a lot of people here. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. Just moving on to the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is quite a good one. And this is the time spent on court for both finalists. Medvedev, 10 hours, 42 minutes. Djokovic, 16 hours, 17 minutes. So it's a lot more. And you wouldn't be surprised to see Daniel go for long rallies on purpose. On the other hand, Djokovic might try to shorten points as much as possible with a lot of net play. And we've seen Djokovic, when he was wanting to shorten points, he goes for a lot of drop shots. We called him Drop Shotovic for a while. And that could be a tactic, but I think we both agree that physically he's better than everyone else. So there's no reason for him to have to shorten it too much. Because I think regardless of the extra 6 hours or 5 hours and so on court, I think it's still an even playing field fitness-wise.
Yeah, I think Djokovic even may still be the favourite, to be honest, if it goes to 5 sets. I don't see that this 16 hours as being anything negative at all. I know that people are going to say...
Well, it would be, though. Let's be honest. If this was 2 other players, let's say, argument's sake, it was Zverev in this final, and he's been an extra 6 hours than Medvedev. I think that could then play a factor, and then we can be talking about how Medvedev has a good chance, but not against Djokovic. He's just another breed altogether.
Yeah,
Liam, they're asking, what's the odds on Medi winning the first set? Because it's definitely happening. That's a wise bet. If anyone wants to take the bet, take Medi first set, but then probably Djokovic in 4.
Well, it's possible. I think I've said this throughout the tournament. You look at those hours on court, I would probably say if you're looking at Djokovic's hours on court, halve it. And that's probably how long he's been on court compared to everybody else. So probably he's been on court about 8 hours in Djokovic in real person terms.
Yeah, you always say that, and you always half them.
Yeah, I think so, because I think he didn't even have tournaments coming into this. So all of those players have played tournaments. So in theory, I know he's played this over 2 weeks, but the other players have been getting deep into like the other tournaments as well. So I just think you can't look at Zverev. Zverev, he'd played a tournament, he'd won all the way in Cincinnati. So he'd been all the way to the final of a tournament just coming into this tournament.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can look at it like that. I just think that you look at Djokovic, I don't think time on court means anything. And you just heard how much desire he has for this. If you think he's going away in a fifth set, you got another thing coming. I'm telling you, mate.
Yeah,
Anyway,
agreed. We've got Jugoslav saying, I know I talk too much, but I have a bet another €100 on Novak to win 4-1. I hope not to lose this one. Well, 4-1 was probably the most popular.
4-1. 3-1, do you mean?
Winning 4. So winning 4,
Oh,
3-1.
right,
I think
okay.
that's what he means. Yeah. I knew what he meant, but
Okay.
I think he's written it wrong there. But yeah, 3-1 is the most likely score.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on to the next one. So Ben Rothenberg, he's back again. Not the most popular person on Twitter, but he definitely has some really good tweets. And he's saying here,
Definitely.
you know what's hecking nuts, folks? Bit of a weird start. Saying Emma Raducanu just become the third woman born in the 2000s to win a major, alongside obviously Swiatek and Andreescu. Tomorrow, Daniel Medvedev's trying to become only the second man born in the 1990s to win a major. And the last one being Dominic Thiem last year, wasn't it? At the US Open, beating Zverev during the COVID times with no one there. And we spoke about how you need to be of a certain age to win a Grand Slam. It takes so long. It's polar opposite on the women's side because you have these young players coming through. But that's mad. What? Only one man has won in the 1990s a major in the men's. That blew me away. I remember covering it at the time, but it's just crazy, especially after what's happened with Emma.
Yeah. Sorry, just to go back to the live chat, Gemma just saying he meant the odds were 4-1. So for every £100, it returned 400. Okay, so apologies if I called you out for saying 4 sets to 1. Yeah, I think it's incredible. The 90s, well, to only have one Grand Slam champion from people born in the 90s, that's pretty mad. And Medvedev, well, that must be overdue one then. Well, overdue another one. Dominic Thiem, would he have won it if Djokovic hadn't got defaulted last year? We don't know. Probably would have been Djokovic again, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And listen, mate, are we ever going to see something crazy like a real young guy, like an Alcaraz or something, win a US Open? I think it's just too hard on the men's. I'm not sure if it's possible.
I think eventually. I think he'll get there. I just think Alcaraz...
I'd love to see a real star come through and do it, but let's see. Daniel Medvedev, though, if he can do it, he's going to write himself in the history books. And I think he's been knocking on the door for some time. This is now, his third Grand Slam final?
Yes. So US Open, 5 sets against Rafa, was very close in that one. And then obviously the 3 sets earlier this year against Novak in Australia, where, I mean... He looked like a bit of a deer in the headlights against Novak in Australia. I think Australia is just Novak's place, and it's an intimidating place to go up against him. I think in the US, not so much his place. The crowd probably be favouring Medvedev, I think. I don't know why. They just seem to really get on Novak's back in the US. So that might favour, but Djokovic loves it, though. He loves putting his ear to the crowd every time he proves them wrong. So,
listen, and as much as we've said sometimes Djokovic has had easy draws in some of these slams this year, if we just look at the finals, you've got to agree they're the best players on that surface at the time. If I start at the Daniel Medvedev, I've always said I think he is the best hard courter. You've then got on the clay, Stefanos Tsitsipas. He's been the best clay courter. It's obviously aside from Rafa, but he played him before as well. So he had Rafa, then Tsitsipas. Doesn't get harder than that for the last few rounds. And I know all the rounds before are quite simple, and he's been, well, he's gifted it because he's the number 1 seed, and he's deserved to be that. And then you look at on the grass, Berrettini, the biggest server, was looking amazing. I thought he was the best grass courter going into Wimbledon. Played him in the final and beat him. And now again, playing Medvedev on the hard court. So I think Medvedev as well, the US Open is a lot better than Australia. You could probably say the Zverev in Australia maybe is a bit tougher, but then he beat him in 4 sets before. So he's had to beat the very best young players coming through to get to where he is right now. So you can dismiss his achievements by saying he's had easy draws and opponents before, but ultimately towards the back end and the business end of the events, he's had to play the very best and beat them.
He really has. It's a very tough one. It's a tough one to call because I know that it's different in America. I think that Medvedev will be better than he was in Australia for sure. So mind-blowing stats coming at us. Do you want to go through these ones or shall
Yeah, I can do it, mate. And then
Go
we'll
on
go
then.
on to our prediction and then we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
But the mind-blowing Djokovic stats is his 31st Grand Slam final, his 9th US Open final. He's done more than 9 at the Australia.
Yeah.
And 27-0 in Grand Slams in 2021. On Sunday, he'll go for his 21st major title, the Grand Slam, or
Yeah.
otherwise known as the Calendar Year Slam.
Yes.
Can he do it though, Ben? So this is the moment. Over to you. Can Novak Djokovic lift the trophy in America and win the Calendar Year Slam?
Well, JG, very good question indeed. I'm just going to give you my exact thoughts on how I see it going. I think Daniel Medvedev will be better than in Australia. I think he proved it against Rafa in the final in the US. He has good potential to win the US Open. I think his route through, he hasn't really been tested, which is a bit of a worry for me. But
Because has Daniel Medvedev had to find that extra gear in any of the matches where he's playing his best? I don't think he has.
And that it's really down to whether I think it's either going to be for me Djokovic winning in 5, but it's just dependent if Daniel Medvedev, if that is the cause. If he's just really fresh and he just comes on court and starts really playing well, I think will be Djokovic in 5. But then if it's not, I think he'll only get a set and it'll be Djokovic in 4, the standard one. I'm going to go Djokovic in 5 though. I'm going to go for the big one. I think Djokovic knows how to win that 5th set and he won't care about going to another one.
Oh, gosh, you put it on me now. So, I guess I've got to give mine. If we are to get yours, it will be pretty special having another 5-setter. That'll be back-to-back for him. And I would agree that if it goes to 5, he wins. I'm going to blow you away a little bit. And this could be slightly biased in the fact that I do win the overall bracket if it happens. And being a big Rafa fan, I don't want to see Djokovic, the all-time leading Grand Slam leader. As much as I think it's most likely going to happen, there's 2 different sides of me talking right now. I've got my heart and my head, and I'm going to have to follow a combination of the 2. And that is Djokovic is going to lose this final, and Daniel Medvedev's going to win his first Grand Slam. And I think the way it's going to happen is 4 sets. I think Djokovic is going to take the first as well. So it could be a bit of a different kind of feel. I think it's not a good sign if Medvedev wins the first, because all that does is gets Djokovic going, and he loves playing from behind. I think if he takes that first set, Medvedev may play with a little bit more freedom, and he knows he's not really got much to lose from that moment on because he's down a set against the world number 1. The crowd, I reckon, are going to really get behind him at that moment because they're going to want to see the match sort of as long as possible. And that is my reason. I'm going to be going Daniel Medvedev to cause a bit of a shock here and win the final in 4 and stop the Calendar Year Slam.
Wow, you heard it here first.
And stop
Jay.
21.
I think your bracket's speaking more than you're speaking.
No, it's not just my bracket. I think it's possible. I really do. I think Medi could do it.
Well, it would be a real kick in the teeth for Novak. Zverev taking away the Olympic gold, then Med taking away the Calendar Year Grand Slam. That would be a horrible end to the year for Novak Djokovic, I'll tell you. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go for the Calendar Slam again next year, if that's the case. I don't think he'll let up on trying to complete it. He's still there's more fight in the old dog yet. That's what I'm going to say. So,
yeah, I can see I've upset a lot of people in the live chat.
Exactly,
you're going to. But it's what's going to happen. I'm expecting it.
History.
Yep, and listen, man, I'll be the first person to congratulate Novak Djokovic if he's able to achieve it, because it's something I didn't think was ever possible. So it's going to make it a fascinating final. We'll both be going for opposite players, and let's see how it happens. I thought this was quite a funny one. Let's see if I can find it. Edgar, they're saying this is like predicting team to beat Rafa in a Roland Garros final. It does. I guess I would agree with you if this was in Australia, but it's not. In the US, I think it is a little bit more even than what it would be in Australia. Predicting Medvedev to beat Djokovic in Australia would have been definitely like team to beat Rafa, which, listen, I'm a big Rafa fan. There was a moments in some of them where I thought maybe this could be team's moment because he's looking great on the clay, but Rafa always comes out strong and is able to do it. Djokovic, is he going to come out strong and show what he can do here? It's a good chance he will, but I'm going to be going for the Medi Bear win.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. The wolf, will he be howling at the end of the match? And will we be seeing that same image we've seen so many times? Novak Djokovic with a 21st Grand Slam trophy, being the standalone person at the top of the pile. We'll have to wait and see. Join us for it later, guys. Wah! It's exciting. I'm excited now. That's
9
me
p.m.
up.
start in the UK and 4 p.m. in America. So you don't want to miss it.
Indeed. That's it for now, isn't it?
Yeah, let's wrap it
Wrap
up
it
there.
up.
If you haven't already, guys, please hit the like button on the video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later on for the big final. Only
Indeed.
one place to watch it on Game to Love with us.
Come on. See you then.
See you guys soon.